Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the hour has arrived. All right, better get the machine on.
It's on.
Still not ready?
We'll put one in.
Is it?
Let's give us a minute to get our machine operating here.
Got some of that OM up here going on, that operator malfunction.
Oh, yeah. Operator malfunction, this thing.
Oh, you got sit by
No, sir. This is number 4 down here.
Charles, they got a lot of miles in
It's
it.
my fault.
The old miles on the foundation and all that debris.
Oh, yeah, I saw
They got the majority of it.
I thought it might have been
If they hadn't had hauled it to Jesso, they would have been.
Well, I was gonna ask you where they were taking it.
Jesso.
Is it going?
Yes, sir.
We're finally in business, so we'll start again. Mr. Christian, will you give the application for us, please?
Let us pray. God and Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us to come together to take care of our city business. I want to take now and ask that you bless this council, this city, this county. I want to take now and ask a special blessing on this time of the year because we know it's because of you sending your son to us that we have this special time of the year and everything to celebrate the birth of Christ. Go with us, lead, guide, and direct us. All these things that we ask in your son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
The flag is, all right. Stand and take a leave of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, we want to thank Ms. Bennett for being here. Ken Smith is with his wife in the hospital, and in his absence, she's agreed to come and be here on his behalf. Can you give us a report on how Ms. Smith is doing?
She's doing better today. They have still not gotten their test results back. They said they probably would not be back until tomorrow, so they will know more tomorrow.
And where is she?
She's in the Vidalia Hospital. She is doing better today.
Okay, thank you. The agenda's before you, gentlemen. Entertain a motion. We approve the agenda. Got a motion by Mr. Johnson to approve the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bloodworth. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda's set. You looked at the minutes of the couple of minutes for work session and general session. Have you got all that on the 10th and the 17th? Have you had time to look over the minutes?
Yes.
I entertain a motion that we accept the minutes.
I make a motion.
Mr. Rivers made the motion that we accept the minutes as recorded. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any further discussion relative to the minutes? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Is a Mr. Wilcox or anyone representing him here with reference to the dog issue?
He was supposed to be on the way.
Huh?
He's on his way.
Can we just move it down a little bit? This is Mr. Wilcox's brother, right?
No, his cousin.
Cousin, I'm sorry.
Okay, so, but you say he is on his way?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll come back to it in a minute. We'll come back to it. Okay, the water and sewer report is in there. Entertain a motion relative to the approving that.
I make a motion, we approve the water and sewer adjustments.
Mr. Griffin has made a motion that we approve the water and sewer adjustments. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Purser. Is there further discussion relative to that? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. What about the water and sewer adjustment? Have you had a chance to look at that?
Yeah. I'll promote it at water.
Mr. Johnson made a motion that we approve the water and sewer adjustment. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Purser. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's taken care of. Have you had a chance to look at the check register?
I'll promote it that be accepted.
Got a motion by Mr. Johnson that the list of checks be approved. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion's carried. You've got in there an R2R repair services on the water tank on Gill Street. Any questions about that?
This is the total, is it?
Pardon?
I mean, this is the total,
Oh, no, this is not the painting and all that.
okay, what is this for now? Okay, okay.
This is all the putting in the electrical service and everything back in and get it whether we,
It's really not a bad price, is it?
no, it's
I don't
not.
think it's bad at all. Agree.
Anybody, any questions about the R2R repair service to get our water tank and pump going back at Gill Street? Hearing none, I entertain a motion.
I'll promote it that, this be paid.
Is there a second to Mr. Johnson's motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Griffin seconded the motion. Is there further discussion relative to the bill? You have questions about the bill?
No.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the bill will be paid. All right, I believe, is Mr. Wilcox here now? Are you Mr. Michael Wilcox?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, we had come by you. We'll come back to you now. If you'll come to this, stand right here and state your case.
Yeah, you coming?
I just want to know why is it that, like, if it's more dogs like running loose, why they not bothering them? Why they always coming to mine?
Well, Mr. Wilcox, I'm not real familiar with your situation, but I can assure you, knowing our people and how they call and look, I don't think you're being singled out. I think if you'll check, we try to serve all people fairly, but if we've made a mistake, explain it to us.
It's just that, like, every time it's something about my dogs that they come and get them about something. And
Well,
it's
if
a
they're
bunch-
loose, they're supposed to come get them.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's a bunch of dogs that's, running around like that too out there. It's not just only mine, and nobody else coming over that way picking up them dogs.
So you think we're picking on you, huh?
Now, let me just mention this, that, we had some of your neighbors, I checked on this, your cousin and your father came by, and we had some neighbors who made complaints about them, and we responded. If you've see some dogs running, please call us. If they're running, and we'll go get them too. I mean, we'll treat you just like we do everybody else. They call us and tell us that the dog's running loose and they're turning over trash, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so we have to respond. So if you see them, you call us, and we'll take care of you. And we'll treat you just like we do everybody else.
Anything else?
Well,
I think we can move on from that issue. I think let's look now on, who's got this number 10? Huh? Who's got number 10?
This right here, the Benjamin Concrete, where they're doing the actual work, and Jeff's not here, and he and I talked about it. We've got a place out there, Blaine, you may know about it, where it's going into that, the motel out there on the.
Excuse me a minute, which is I'm sorry, which is America's first?
It's the motel on the left as you're going out of town.
Right. Okay, I got it. All right, now I'm
Right
on.
where the triangle,
Right, I know where you're
Triangle
going.
Street comes in.
from what I understand, there's some of our, it's on our property that's gotta be fixed and whatever company, and Benjamin Concrete is out there doing some work for the people right now. As far as this is the way Jeff explained it to me, and this was a price that we had got to go ahead and fix this while they were there. Jeff thought it was a good price to go ahead and get it done, it was reasonable for, for what's gotta be fixed. And that's all I really know about it. He thought it was a good idea to go ahead and have it done. And like I said, but he's not here right now, and he told me that they would, for the total job and everything else, it's like $3,200. And that's for cut out the concrete, saw a jackhammer, dump it, and tractor work and everything. And now, I don't know if this was including the cement and whatever else, because I don't see it on here. But he had told me while they were out there, it would be a good idea to go ahead and get it done. And like I said, that's where I'm at with it, and that's what I know about it right now.
Am I understanding this, if they just charge us for labor,
Right.
then it'd be $1,700 if we dispose of everything.
I'm thinking that's what Jeff was telling me and everything else. I said, I wish he was here, he's not. If we want to take and hold off on this until I can speak with him in the morning again, and then I'll get it back with Miss Bernice, and she can take and call y'all and let y'all know for sure what it is.
I want you to note too on this now, on this bill, this is dated September the 8th of 2016. And while this is, and we haven't heard anything about it in September, October, November, and here we are in December, I'd like for us to look at this a little bit more before we go any further with it.
Well, like I said, we'll talk with Jeff and find out, and I'll call y'all in the morning, let y'all know what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Huh?
I'm okay with
Somebody entertain a motion to be tabled till
I'll
later?
make a motion to
that.
table it until I talk with Jeff tomorrow.
Well, if we table it, we've got to wait till next meeting. We need to make some action about, if it's got to be done, we need to handle it. Like, we need to authorize perhaps Commissioner Griffin and the mayor to handle it, or something like that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Rather than table it.
Because
It'll be 30 days before we can do anything.
If they're doing the work, then, if they're doing work out there right now and everything.
Okay, I entertain a motion relative to maybe me and Mr. Griffin get with Jeff, and if we see that it's justified and think it's feasible, considering our budget situation, because we have gotten in a good bit of that road tax, so our general fund is in a little bit of a condition now. You want to make a motion, Tommy, that
I'll make a motion that,
Eric and I
yeah,
get with them and take care of it?
right.
All right, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Second by
Okay,
Mr.
you
Johnson.
Yeah, that's fine with me. That's
A
fine.
motion made and seconded that Mr. Griffin and I get with those people and determine if we move on this. If we see it's justified, we'll move on it. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I'll call for a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Mr. Griffin and I will take care of it. All right. Mr. Johnson, you want to talk to us about number 11?
Well, the MLK parade is set for January the 14th, and I think I seen the sheriff coming in with asking that the city allows to have the annual parade on the 14th, Saturday, beginning at 11 o'clock.
Okay, you've got this is a customary thing that happens every year, gentlemen. I entertain a motion relative to the approval of the MLK parade.
So moved.
Mr. Burford made a motion that we approve the parade for the January the 14th. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Tom, you got the golf course information?
I don't know what we were supposed to discuss.
Okay, you got some information?
It's the minutes that, the Golf Course Advisory Board presented there. It was actually in your work session as well as your regular meeting here. Be sure that you read this and everything and follow up with everything on there.
Everybody familiar with the material that you got?
Right.
Any further discussion relative to the golf course?
Also, I gave each of you council members a printout that Haley, our city auditor, has given to me. please take that with you, please study it. There's a lot of information on there that needs to be looked at.
Wait a minute, what was that?
In summary, the auditor, Haley is a pencil ledger sheet showing expenses and the income
This is what it is,
of
Tom.
the golf course. Well, there's a sheet attached to that too.
Tommy,
This is the sheet.
it looks like this.
Oh, okay, well, I saw that, but it didn't, okay.
This was the auditors going through with expenses of the golf course, and as of June the 30th, which is several months ago now, we've gone June, July, August, September, October, 6 months ago approximately. At the end of this audit period, the golf course had taken in $47,000, and we had spent $200-something thousand. We were $181,000 in the hole. The labor cost of the golf course during that period of time, total labor cost was roughly $69,000, and the total income was at $47,000. So we put a lot into the golf course, as you can tell. I think it's a much needed item in the community. We've taken on, and I think things will improve. But at any rate, it's as of the auditor brought the figures to me that I've just given you, a total of $220-something thousand in expenditures and income as of June 30th, $47,000. So we're really in the hole with it.
Let me, furnish that, you said this?
Yes.
The only thing
No.
I found in there was the
You- it
Christmas
was already-
bonuses and the,
No,
No,
No, you got the wrong one.
you picked, it was laying there when you come in. This,
oh, it's another one?
yeah.
yes, sir.
I still don't see it,
Here,
I'm
pass
sorry.
this one.
This is mine.
He's got it there. He's got it right there. He'll find it in the wrong one.
No, just give him that one.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I got it now, okay.
The second sheet is all the
Right,
figures that I just
I
gave.
got you.
Do we need to move on with this? Have we presented, anybody got any questions about it? Anybody got any questions about this item? The information's been given to you, let's move on. What is number 13, Jeff Davis Ledger ad preview for Christmas edition of the Ledger?
Because we have not updated the photograph of the mayor and the council at this point, I got with Teresa Hips that works with the Jeff Davis Ledger, and she sent me a preview of the ad. I would like for you all to look at it. I've told her to go ahead with it, to publish it in the newspaper for the Christmas edition.
Okay, I entertain a motion that we approve the ad as presented in our packet.
Make a motion.
Mr. Griffin has made the motion that we approve the Christmas ad. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes are approved.
I'm abstaining,
Well,
the conflict of interest.
you're out, you're approved. All right, that's approved. Okay, we got any citizens' comments?
I'd like to make
Oh, wait a minute, let's get to that in a minute, other than this, that's, you're part of the family here, we'll get to that. And any other citizens' comment?
I would like to remind the supervisors and employees that are in attendance that we have our Christmas luncheon December the 22nd at 12 o'clock noon at the Civic Center. We have guests that will be attending that I've invited also. Just a reminder, 12 o'clock, Civic Center Christmas luncheon.
Okay. Okay, now, my friend, present us what we got.
I'd like to inform the council that yesterday I received a call from Mr. Harrell, who is a real estate developer. And he was inquiring about the Wildwood Apartments on the Broxton Highway. Everyone knows where I'm talking about. He informed me that they are owned by Mr. Owen Wooten, and he informed me that Mr. Wooten wanted to sell those apartments. And he was very interested in buying them, purchasing them. What he wants to do is to buy all the apartments and renovate them and make condos out of them and sell them as condos for people to live in. And I told him I would have to read the laws pertaining to the zoning on it, and I would get back with him. I called him today, this morning, and informed him that it would be there was no laws to prevent him from doing such.
It's zoned properly for that.
Pardon?
It's zoned properly for
Yes.
that.
Zone for that, and the apartments now meet all the zoning requirements, and that he could change them to condos without any problem. The only thing, I told him the only thing he would have to do is contact the city and to get a permit when he started to renovating the apartments. And he said that was fine, he was glad to hear that, and he said that he would contact Mr. Wooten today. Now, I don't know, the deals between Mr. Wooten and him, that's their affair. But I also informed him that I thought the city would work with him in any way that they possibly could to get into those apartments.
It sounds, council, it sounds like that it's gonna be a real good upgrade out there, and it's gonna be, something nice. He's gonna refurbish them and get them in position they can sell, and perhaps, yank the community, a little so that you've got, a little more protection. So it's an upgrade in housing for us, and I think it's something that's needed. So I think it's real good, and.
Mr. Harold informed me that he had been inside of 2 of their apartments, and that he knew that he was going to have to renovate just about all of them and turn them into condos. But the way that he said to me on the telephone this morning is he was very excited that he could go ahead and purchase them and make condos out of it.
Sounds like a good move to me, and we appreciate you taking the time to research it and come up for us.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bond.
Okay, let's go next to an item here. As all of you know, we've been doing for the past 7 days, we've been working out at our treatment plant. We found it in a pretty tough condition. I think the best thing to do is start off with, we've got Opie, the plant operator here, and Bland Williams. If you two start off with Bland, you and Opie, you start, and give the council report on what we've done out there and what's going on.
We pretty much got all the sludge and sand and everything out. It's been a tedious job. But we've hauled just out of the aeration basin between 25 and 30 full dump truck loads of sand. And we're near to finish. The plant's back in operation. They're to turn the water back on to the aeration basin 2. So by tomorrow afternoon, we should be fully operational again. It's been a lot of work, a lot of work, but it's just coming to an end now.
Opie?
Well, we've got that clear. That's accumulation of about 20 years of busted sewer lines, contractor working on lines. But we still got a problem we need to address about the influent coming in before we get back into the same situation again. There's got to be some screening. What triggered all this was the fact that we had a rainfall today, and our plant was stifled at 400,000 a day. And that's what spurred all this to start. That plant should be handling up to 3 million, even though we only permitted for 1.5. If that rain would have hit and we had to done something the other day, the plant would have went over the top.
Gentlemen, that's what I found when I went out there Friday, a week ago. Opie and I went up top, and that plant was up within the width of my fingers here from running over the top. And he told me that even one side of the plant ought to handle our effluent if it's operating properly. And that plant was in such a bad situation that it was just critical, as he just
I
got through
will,
telling me. And I said, Opie, if that's the case and it's fixed to run over the spill, I said, start now. I asked him, again, gentlemen, there's a lot involved in this. It's not a simple process. Opie explained to me, and he wasn't correct in what he was saying, that one side of that plant will handle our sewer if it is functioning properly. There was so much dirt in there, and I'm not exaggerating a bit, when we finally got that thing down, almost the height of those chairs from the floor would be beds of sand all over the inside, the right-hand side of that treatment plant. When Opie tried to drain that side to work on it, there was so much foreign material in the valves that go from one side to the other that we couldn't cut it off. And when he went to try to work on that side, both sides, he goes out and we look, and both sides is draining because the two are connected together. So finally we struggled, and Bland got involved with us. Bland had been sick, and he was in the hospital, and had just gotten out. But Bland went out there and concurred to open all gates. We were in a critical situation, and dump everything we could dump to get that thing down. Well, those multiple loads of sand in that thing, we got busy, or I did, and found in South Carolina an elevator and got Charlie Leggett. He was out at Beasley's, brought his crane up there and set it over inside that plant, and did that for nothing. He said, I'll be glad to help you. He's going to set it back out in the morning. And then I got busy. I didn't know who would go down. Me and Opie and Bill and Crystal couldn't get it out of there. That we had to have a lot of manual labor to load dirt, sand after sand after sand. And we put our equipment over there and we got started. And to make a long story short, there are just diffusers all over the bottom of that thing now. We have finally, another thing, Kim Williams out of the country brought his big irrigation system and flooded that thing with water, and we got in there with our hose, and that plant is now in, what kind of operation is it in now?
Well, the half is operating, we got the valve lit up enough to handle the flow.
And the other side's working, and we're fixing to fix this. It's the best place it's been in 20 years, and I'm telling you, if you folks think you can do any better, I wish to hell you've been out there.
We do need to still consider something at the inflow, or we'll be right back in that shape.
Well, now, let me explain that to you, folks. Like if this is the plant here, this huge plant, and it's a lot bigger than this, over there at the drive-in window is a series of concrete vats where all the sewer comes in, and there's a filtering system to handle it. That is not adequate. It runs over that. Shoes. We even got a basketball out of there, didn't we? There's a basketball right through that thing.
Well, them are really racks, they don't catch that stuff.
Well, I understand that, and plus the fact when you have a big flow, it goes over the top and finds its way into that plant. Opie, tell them, because I think we can do better than this, but tell them what kind of price you got on fixing that infiltration.
Well, I've got one quote so far, and it was $100,000. And that's installed, and all you have to do,
Yep, I can assure you, I've got some other quotes, and it can be done cheaper.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it could. That's just first quote I've got showed up.
But at any rate, another thing too, gentlemen, the reason that plant is so full of sand is that all throughout this city, we've got openings that is infiltrating with sand. And not only is it infiltrating with sand in the wet places and the branches and the roundabout, it's infiltrating with water. And we're getting sometimes twice the volume into that plant of stormwater that we should be getting. At any rate, Tommy, you were a little confused. All we were intending to do was do, what do you call it, something one?
Aeration basin one.
Aeration basin one was what we intended to do. It's clean. It's a little bit of additional material got to be done, but we performed a miracle in 7 days. And the men, by the way, I've got a requisition in front of you for anywhere from 7 to 8 or 9, 10 men have been in there, and you wouldn't believe the position. Of course, we clothed them with boots and other things, but you wouldn't believe the position we put this crew in, and they have been there in the rain, working with shovels and going. And, if y'all, of course, there might be some question about the bill. If you don't wanna pay the bill, if you think the bill's wrong and you think I've made a mistake, I can cover it, I'll pay for it myself. But there's a bill in front of you to pay the labor that haul all those dump trucks of load out there. And if you've got any question about it, fine, but you got a bill in front of you, and I'd like to, has anybody got any questions about it?
I haven't think I will say it.
Ain't like what them boys done, most men kept to study that all day long like they did. I mean, they stayed on the shovel, wet sand is very heavy.
No.
Okay, all of you had a chance to look at the bill. I entertain a motion relative to the bill.
Our promotion has to be paid because we've done that before y'all. And it happens once in a while, so it won't happen no more than a while.
Mr. Johnson made a motion, we pay the bill. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Pardon?
I'll second.
You second the motion. Okay, we finally got a second. I think it's dead. It looks like I think that pay a bill. I could do it. Got a motion and a second, the bill be paid. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the bill will be paid. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your cooperation. Would you put your name on here?
One more thing about that conduit, when I was looking back through y'all past sanitary surveys, inspections, the number one thing for the last 5 inspections that EPD request was something that didn't put it up plan.
Yeah, it's got to be done.
It was number one on every one of his inspections.
It's got to be done, but we can do it a little cheaper than that. But
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
we'll get and present to the council in a little better way. Okay, any other thing under mayor and commissioner comments?
Yes, John, would you and Glenn give us an update on that lift station, what they found at, behind the, whatever that's, what's the name of that shopping center?
Shopping center. Did Tommy get with you today?
Yeah.
Hayes
First time I'd ever seen him.
Yeah, Hayes had sent, Tommy, I guess, but he got with Bland, so I don't actually know. I'll give you the update myself.
Okay.
There's 2 things gonna have to be done. The first one has to be adjusted, to do that. And we
What's
have
gonna have to be adjusted, I'm sorry?
Ken McLeod is going to have to do something about the grease coming from the restaurant. And it is just, it's just unbelievable that the grease that is coming in there, and that's the only thing.
Who do you say the party is that's responsible for that?
It's, well, Ken McLeod and his investment group owns that, the Medallion complex there.
Yeah.
But there's a Mexican restaurant on the very end next to the bypass, and that's the only thing that has grease in it.
There's no other restaurant in that area, and yet when we go to the manhole cover out there, it's full of grease and clogs up everything. And every one of those restaurants are supposed to have something to prevent this from happening, and we don't have them.
My question is, I thought we had something, some ordinance in place where we could force them to do it.
We can.
Well,
But
we
it's
need
gonna
to do
This
that.
is gonna need to go through Ken McLeod, and probably gonna need to get attorney to send a letter, a registered letter, to Ken McLeod, and it's going to have to, this is something gonna have to be done.
Absolutely, I agree with you 100%.
He's always
But
signed.
you told me there was something
That's-
wrong with the lift station too, or did you, no, Chris told me that.
What-
There was a
what's wrong?
combination of problems.
What is wrong with it is the thing actually will run with the grease around it until the motor overheats, which trips
The grease is the whole problem.
the whole thing.
And that's what the Tommy or whatever it was told you, okay? That's all, that's what I wanted to hear. I appreciate it. We do need to get it fixed. We need to get Ken on it to do something, because that is, he said it's, Ken said it's happened 4 or 5 times, and he called me personally, because, I rent from, my building.
Now, Ken McLeod has been informed of it because the plumber he's got has talked directly to him. I've not talked to Ken. I don't even know how to get in touch with him.
I think he tried to, he thought he was calling City Hall, but he called your office number, which was, and you were in the hospital. That's how he couldn't get hold of you.
Okay, any other, council member, got anything to bring before the group?
I want to apologize to the city
Yeah.
and to the commissioner. This cough, y'all, has got something to do with the medicine I'm taking, and I'm trying to stop it. They told me don't stop the medicine, but something got to go, so please.
Don't stop.
I-
They ain't giving you that medicine, are they?
I ask y'all to forgive me. I'm a doctor myself.
Ms. Bennett and I had mentioned, she'd mentioned to me that before we had discussed, the council had discussed this farmer's market, and she had mentioned the possibility of some grant funds, and I think the problem was that we couldn't find a piece of land. Wasn't that the main
That was
hold?
the main hold up.
Main hold up. Can you sort of give the council and the people here a little report on what you know about that?
The last time I had spoken with, it's Heart of Georgia, I think it's out of Eastman, there is a USDA grant available for a farmer's market. But with the DDA, the issue we ran into was we could never find a location for land. The city owned a couple of lots that were on side streets, but those who would be utilizing the farmer's market said they didn't feel that they would get the foot traffic in those areas, and they had suggested 341, but I probably talked to 10 landowners, and they wanted compensation for the land, but under any kind of grant of this caliber, you cannot use grant funds for acquisition of land. You have to buy it from your general funds or already own the land. So that was kind of the holdup that we run into with getting that project off the ground.
Back when you were, when the DDA was more active, I talked with Rob Brown, who was the school superintendent at that time, and he was to the point that he felt like he could talk the school board to giving us that property where they hold the cookout, the cook-off, the state cook-off, that end of it. Now, the church owns it now.
Yeah.
And I think we might,
I went to the school board and did a presentation on
right,
that,
I know.
and it was turned down, so,
Well, now the church owns it,
yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll do something, I don't know, it's worth asking anyway. That's on, that Pro Marty Street, I think it's a great one.
That was
Plenty of parking.
Oh, it
That was
would
perfect
be a good location if we could get it, yeah. I've also, since she's mentioned it, I know of another parcel and a person that we're dealing with that might, we might find a way to work that, so we'll go to work on that. Was there another item that you and I were talking about? Is that it?
That was it.
That's it, okay. All right, again, we want to thank you for being here.
No problem, thank you.
And, council, I think we've handled the business. I entertain a motion, Mr. Council.
We don't need to talk about that, go in closed session, talk about the lawsuit, or
On the-
okay with it? I mean, it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, you mean on the hand deal? Or you talking, which one? It's not even on the agenda.
Well, I know it's not, but we got it in our packet, the letters from the attorney. Did you see it? can't
Yeah, I saw
remember the
that.
name
I
now.
saw that, but,
Oh, the accident on 341.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Do we
Well,
need to
I
talk
don't-
about it, or we want to wait?
I don't think that it's far enough along that we need
That's
to do
fine.
anything right
That's
now.
fine.
That's supposed to just inform you that it's gonna be one. In fact, since he brought it up, I like to keep everybody out here informed too. We had, an awful error, and, we all make errors. But, we had one of our garbage trucks to make a turn out there in front of, it used to be the old Corson's Kinston, it's now Sisters. And in making the turn, it was a wreck, a bad wreck. And we've got the initial paperwork in here, and that's what it's in for the council to look at. There's not a thing we can do right now. But to give you an example, one amount for a child is, you've got the figures probably in mind, but Bernie's better than I do. There's four different suits. I think the smallest one's $100,000, another $100,000. What are the numbers, honey? They've got,
I don't
One of them
know.
was 50. I remember
Was there
that.
150?
One of them was 50, but it's a lot.
but there was one that was over 200,000, I believe. So it's a heck of a lawsuit coming. But here again, we carry insurance. That's what we buy insurance for. We may, if we keep having these claims, we're gonna get where we can't afford it.
Absolutely.
Because the cost of it, with this type of thing, is gonna make it where we can't even afford our insurance. But at any rate, we've got another lawsuit coming, and we've got, the people that will handle this for us, and our attorneys will help us as well, but it's not, we don't need to do anything now.
Okay.
All right, we've got a motion from Mr. Johnson that we adjourn, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bloodworth. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, we're adjourned.
When?